Bonjour and welcome to all of you comic book geeks, readers and collectors to another top 10 of the week. And there's 15 in the top 10 this week again. I wasn't very good at maths, all right? I wasn't good at maths. When there's a bumper week, I can't not talk about the great comics that are out at the moment. I've got to, and I know I have my whinges, and I think we're all entitled to a little whin. You know, not everything's going to ever be perfect and great and wonderful. And I do think there's a lack of people kind of warning us about the shitters out there. But I will always let you know why I don't like it. Anyway, weeks like this is when I'm reminded that this is the best hobby ever. I have got a top 15 that covers Dark Horse, Image, Marvel, DC, Titan and Boom. And that's without, because of the way that comics are distributed in England, you know, I would really like to pick up a lot more independent stuff. But, you know, I've wasted so much dough in the past pre-ordering from previews because it looks great and you read, oh God. But I would like to pick up other small press titles. But I'm kind of relying, unless I go into London, I'm relying on my LCSs to take a punt on titles. It happens every now and again. But by and large, all right, you could accuse me of being a bit mainstream. But nevertheless, I've got 15 great books here. I'm going to do a deep dive on the top 5 after my little scroll. I'm going to go through all 15 of my recommendations this week. Well, for last week's comics, if you haven't picked them up yet, all the spoilers are going to be in the deep dive. I'll keep it light and airy and just gushing without letting anything out. So you're safe. You're safe until the scroll. The deep dive is where the trailer spoilers are going to be, not the trailers, because we're going to look at the gorgeous artwork in 5 comics this week that is exceptional. Storylines exceptional, artwork exceptional, and like I say, we've got a lovely spread, beautiful spread. And right at the end, please indulge me, hang around to the end. It's all going to be chapterized, so but nevertheless, just hang around to the end where we'll have a bit of fun with cover of the week. And you can shout at the screen and say, Hog, you got that one wrong. No, that's the best cover. We have a bit of fun imagining we only had pocket money for one comic. Do you remember them days? Do you remember when you would have pocket money for one comic? It wouldn't be one comic a month, I'm not saying that, but you'd only have, I can buy a comic. And the covers, the tractor beam of the covers, like what one do we pick up first when we went to the shelves or the spinner rack? Those were the days, eh? Those were the days. Anyway, a little bit of fun at the end of the video. Without further ado, let's get on with it. Starting off with Dark Horse, a nice issue 1 that I thoroughly recommend. It's got all of your and punctuating script with swear words that you come to know and love from The Witcher. But Spurrier doing the storyline, nice setup. It's called The Bear and the Butterfly. I won't give a spoiler away, but basically it's, should I say it? Close your ears, because this might be considered a spoiler. You ready? But basically this is about the Witcher on a vampire hunt. And the black butterflies in the title show up when a vampire's around. Loved it. Really did love the setup of this. And it is only a setup. And I did praise the last Witcher comic that Dark Horse did. They are best read as trade paperbacks, to be fair. This is just the first chapter. I really could have flicked over and just read the next one, and probably could have done 4 issues. Is it going to be? Yeah, it's going to be 4 issues, and it'll. And you know what? 4 issues is spot on for The Witcher. I think one little job. You know, it's not even a mission, is it? It's one little job. He turns up in a town. Oh, there's vampires here. Let's have some of that. Right, that's what we do. Next one up. So that's Dark Horse out of the way. Now I've got 3 Image, 3 Marvel, and 3 DC. First up for Image, Bug Wars. Now this is getting a lot of praise, but it's also getting a few. I know my old mate DC Patrol. How you doing, Sunshine? I know he's kind of struggling with this, and I do get what he's saying. But do you know what? With this issue, now I think Jason Aaron has got his tongue firmly in his cheek with this one. Because why would there be little humans running around in the insect world? I mean, I know the Spider Girl character, but and she's mystical and magical, and Jason Aaron is weaving a really imaginative world of insectdom. See what I did there? But why would there be human? Maybe he'll answer that question. In the meanwhile, I think he's got his tongue firmly in his cheek, and especially with some of the dialogue, with the dung heap dialogue and the butterflies coming down, and they're the butterflies now, the monarchs are ladies of the night. I think when I read this, I kind of got halfway through and I went, I said to myself, hold on a minute. And I started it again with thinking about Jason Aaron giving me a little nod and a wink. And it reads a whole lot better when you, as the reader, don't take it serious. I know the elements of it seems to be building a fantasy realm, and it's all very serious, and the Beetle Warriors and all the rest of it. No. But Beetle Warriors? Really? Well, they're little humans down there riding the insects. Hello? That could almost be cuckoo of the week, but it's not, because I think it's a fun read. I think Jason Aaron has let himself go a little bit there, which is nice. Just let your imagination run free. A bit like Jeff Johns with this, and with Brian Hitch. I just love every single page of every single issue of this comic. I've just latched on to Simon Pure, the main character. Now we've got over a couple of single issue stories that give us a bit more of Simon Pure's character, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Issue 11 is introducing the Northerner, who has got pistoleros from the future. They don't tell us when he's come from, but he's dressed in navy. Obviously beautiful widescreen artwork from Brian Hitch. Look at that for a cover. You can guarantee that's going to be in cover of the week. He does. And you can tell Brian Hitch is thoroughly enjoying himself, as is Jeff Johns and everyone else involved. You know, we need to give everyone a shout out, really. Brad Anderson on the colouring. Andrew Curry and Brian Hitch, the inkers. So Hitch is inking some of his. Anyway, another one from Ghost Machine, Hornsby and Halo. This is just good fun. This is your out of all the Ghost Machine titles, I know it's under Image. That's why I said 3 Image titles, because this is the 3rd one. But Ghost Machine in and of itself are a superior. If this is your first time here, welcome to one of my videos. I have raved about this imprint, as in Ghost Machine, via Image, since it's more or less the first few issues that they brought out. Now, I would say that this isn't one of the heavy hitters creator-wise. And if I was going to rank the stories, bear with me, this would be my least favourite. But it's still head and shoulders above so much. it might be my least favourite Ghost Machine, but it's still a great comic. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Let me know. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments if it doesn't make sense. You'll come at me. Or no, what I'll do is I'll put it on threads, because that's where, if I say I hate someone, a comic character from Marvel, then you all let me know. I can take it. I don't care. It's comics, so I don't care. Anyway, back to Hornsby and Halo. And it is back to my old mate DC Patrol. I think he summed it up best, so I'm going to steal it from him. The link to his videos and his short reviews are in my title page to this. They always are. Him and Mandy, iZombie, and a couple of others, Chris at Longbox Punk, and no, there's a couple of others. Anyway, he summed it up like a Goonies style 80s movie with its light-hearted approach to things. And I think he's right. I think he's spot on with that. And that's what this is. Anyway, heaven and hell, been hidden from the children that have been sired from heaven and hell, and the consequences of two modern children being told that they are going to be part of a greater, wider story. Yeah. There's a lot of, you could get deep with that, as in children, but we don't go there. This is reviewing comics. Thoroughly recommend. Again, best as a trade. This has surprised me. This has more or less 90% of the time it works all the time. I couldn't resist that. 90% of the tie-ins, have been really great. This main title, and obviously it's got all the offshoots, blah blah, crossover event, yawn, and that's literally how I view these crossover events. But guys, let me tell you, this is a decent one. If it wasn't, I'd be telling you. A bit like with a Blood Hunt one. Was it Blood Hunt? The 4 issues of the main Blood Hunt story with Pepe Larraz doing the artwork and all that, they were great. All the tie-ins were useless. They were just absolute useless. These have more or less all been really, really good. Gotta say. Yeah, have been really good. So I do recommend, if you are, like me, a bit sceptical of yet another tie-in event, that's a good one. And I think it is still the fact that Doctor Doom, I think it's that central theme, whoever come up with that, as the Sorcerer Supreme, and that rhymes, but I won't sing. I just love the conceit of it. But how it's being handled by Ryan North, Czech's comic, yes. But I didn't really like his Fantastic Four tie-in to it. Having said all that. Awkward. But no, Ryan North's doing a great job on that. Also a great job is this. Joe Kelly is bringing back the fun to Spider-Man. He's bringing back, and with Pepe Larraz's artwork, which is spot on. Is spot on. He's a great comic book artist, Pepe Larraz. Peter Parker looks a little bit babyish, but other than that, I can get over it. I'm over it. By the time I read the next panel, I am over it. And this has been superb. Bringing back all the old villains. We don't know why yet, but what could it be? What could it possibly be? Is it all a dream or an hallucination? I don't know. But it's great stuff. First couple of issues, bundle of fun. Spider-Man how he should be. Just spot on. This is underestimated. There was a couple of people have popped up on threads saying the same thing, and actually I think from more or less the first, because Brian Hill did such a nice run on Blade, not the red bagged, whatever you call it, lot. The one before that, he'd done such a nice run. I think it was only 10 or 12 issues that I wouldn't have picked this up unless it was him writing it. He gets on with it. Him and Benjamin Percy are two writers that Marvel have got, and they just get on with it. Whatever story, and Benjamin Percy's going to turn up in the top 5. Those two writers for Marvel, they just get on with it. They don't take a year and charts and maps and glossaries. They don't need it. Give us the characters, give us a story, set it up and get going. And do you know what? For 15 issues now, I don't think, you're going to have your little issues where not a lot happens, but you need to set up the next kind of juncture. But other than that, this has rocked along. It really has. And it is I think it, like I say, a couple of people on threads have said it. And I've jumped right in and said, yes, I agree with you. Not enough people are talking about this. Obviously Ultimate Spider-Man sucks in all of the energy and the words that the comics people are talking about. Deservedly so for Ultimate Avengers, because that is also good, Denise Camp. But this, come on guys, you need to give this a go. So saith the hog. Right, free DC. And DC this is a beautiful thing, this comic. The best, for me, the best of the absolute titles, for me. This one just gets better and better and better with every issue. I'm just loving the world of where she is and her mum, and how her mum is passing on the powers and knew what was coming. And it's clever writing, it's imaginative writing. But what it also is, it isn't boring. This type of comic is in danger of becoming very pedestrian if you allow it to be. But it's not. It's still rock and roll, each issue. That doesn't mean I want to see a fight. I don't want to see, Amazonians beating each other up every issue. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean by action, by movement, momentum. It's great stuff. And so is this Gorilla Grodd. So the setup was from World's Finest. This was part 2 of Gorilla Grodd. He's on the cover, isn't he? Oh no. That might have been a spoiler then, mightn't it? Oopsie. Sorry. Anyway, but I won't tell you what he's doing, apart from causing mayhem. Oh, you know by now. Come on, you know. Again, it's Dan Wade, and you're never going to get a bad story from that man. Until he proves me wrong, I'm going to stick by that saying. You can quote me. You can get a t-shirt printed. Hog says Dan Wade hasn't written a bad superhero story ever. Right. And this continues. I've just realised I didn't see Shazam in this issue. And do you know what? DC are doing it the same as Marvel had a little moment of doing it, where the covers don't match the interiors. I'm sure there's a sexual innuendo there, but we don't go there because these are comic reviews. Anyway, Justice League Unlimited has been superb, remains superb. They've obviously tied it into this We Are Yesterday event. Yeah, and it is great. And Gorilla Grodd in here, you will hate him. You will hate. He is ruthless. He's a proper villain, a proper super villain. Love it. It's great, and Wade just knows how to what's the word I'm looking for? He knows how to just make the good ideas, the ideas work. What if so dot, and in that it's what if Gorilla Grodd ... See, didn't spoil it. Anyway, well worth your time. Again, another crossover. And again, I would roll my eyes when I saw that advertised. I thought, oh, now I love World's Finest, and I love a couple of the DC, few of the DC titles. Oh, but I don't want to buy that one. I hate the crossover events. I'm a geeky old hog. I'm allowed. I've bought enough crossover events to detest them, and they come round every year. The big two need to force feed us a crossover every year, and it grates. As soon as I announce it, it's like, oh, rubbing the chalk down the board, rubbing your nails down the... Oh, that was my whinge of the week. Just realised I was getting really, really angry then. Apologies. But that's how much I detest crossover events. They should be every other year, at the very, very most. Because they're not important anymore, are they? Oh, you're teaming up all the titles in the library. Oh, great. Every year. Oh, great. Oh, it's summer. It's almost like you're expecting now. What are they going to do? Oh, it's Blood Hunt last time. Oh, it's Doctor Doom now. Oh, great. Same with DC. They do the same old thing. But both are delivering. That's my overall message, apart from that little rant. So excuse me for that. I wipe my mouth like you do after you've done a little burp that left a little bit of spit on your chin. Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to this? Yes, finally. In the late 80s, they released issue 1, and it's taken them a while. I'm joking. All right, I know it was only a year ago. Was it a year? 18 months ago? They released issue 1, and I thought, oh, this is great. And as previously mentioned, I love both Mark Waid and Brian Hitch. When Hitch is inked by Kevin Nolan, and then you've got colours by, is it David Barron? Because all 4 of those creative talents, let's mention the lettering as well, because it's Richard Starkins. Yeah, it's going to be in it, ComicCraft. A beautiful thing, an absolutely beautiful thing. But when issue 2 come out a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks, it felt like this arrived 2 weeks after issue 2. But issue 2 was your middle. It was your middle bit, and I've got to admit, after waiting a year, I weren't happy. It was nearly going to be, confession time, issue 2 of this was nearly going to be a whinge of the week. Because I was angry, because I've waited a year. What are you doing? One of my favourite writers, one of my favourite artists, and you've done this to me. I was Mr. Angry of Essex, England. They have totally redeemed themselves. And if you read all 3 issues, and I think that's what these are designed to be as a whole, it is a beautiful thing. Waid writes with such confidence with superheroes. Give him anything, Marvel, DC, anything, Dark Horse superheroes, whatever superhero you want to give that man. He will weave you a story that you believe in. You're rooting for the hero, because that's what you want to do. Come on, it's all the simplistic stuff. And I don't think he overcomplicates, and that's what I like about Waid. He does not overcomplicate his storytelling. Ever. And Brian Hitch brings us the widescreen. He just does. And then inks by Kevin Nolan and colours by David Barron. Absolutely beautiful effort. Beautiful. But if you're going to read, if you haven't picked up on this yet, do yourself a favour. Wait, hold on. The world isn't going to stop if you have to hold on to the trade paperback or collected edition of this, whatever you want to call it. It was great stuff. Great stuff. And classic stuff. And there's a lot of wit and charm between the relationship between Clark and Lex. And he does mine their relationship from Smallville. He goes there. So I didn't mind that. And where I'm not the most massivist DC fan, I don't know if this treads on continuity or not, or whether it just, goes over there a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, here is my top 5 for the deep dive. And first up is this bad boy. And I didn't think this was going to be, I thought it might have been a continuing, I didn't realise it would be an anthology of one-shots, which I'm loving. I am loving it. And this one, we are going to delve into the storyline of this, because it, in my opinion, it was so elegantly achieved and executed that how Denise Camp, and is it Joe? No, Eric Zawadzki. Apologies if I've mispronounced that. How the two of them, Geordie Belair on the colours, but how the two of those creators collaborated. That wasn't just the script emailed to the artist. No way. It's a beautiful thing. It is. Anyway, we're going to have a look at it. We're going to have a deep dive. In the same vein as that comic this week, with the kind of hallucinatory, trippy aspect of the storytelling, may I present you this. Issue 1 was cuckoo. Issue 2's not far off it. That isn't cuckoo, because how they set it up, and you kind of quickly get on to the structure of the narrative. You quite quickly realise, but they've only got one issue to do it. These guys, issue 1 really did make some. But what I'm here to tell you is issue 2, dare I say, made sense. Yes, it did. And I couldn't show you issue 1 because there was nothing to show. I would have just been going goo goo gaga. Anyway, we'll have a look at that. It read together, issue 1 and 2. I reckon that's going to be like spot on. Can't mention his name, you know. Yeah, Denise Camp again. Denise Camp. He's getting on with it. He gave us the cuckoo in the first issue, and now he's bringing it into focus for us, and it was great. I was so relieved, and that is the word I'm going to use and stick with. I was relieved, because I don't think I could have kept up with another issue of how issue 1 was. You can do it, can't you? You can do it, but you don't want it all cuckoo. So from the 2 cuckoos to properly solid storytelling and artwork and characterization, this beautiful. First issue, spot on. Second issue, ups the ante. Solomon Kane as a character, there's a massive proportion of his life and adventures set in Africa, and this is one of them. This is where Patrick Zurcher has gone, and yeah, it is beautiful when a writer-artist goes for it. Yes. Here's our old mate Benjamin Percy. The man is proving that he can deliver, like I said earlier on about Brian Hill, deliver stories with no fannying around. You just give us, you've got an idea, yeah, what if Spider-Man met Predator and New York was as hot as it's ever been, and you had a rogue Predator Don't just make it any old Predator. Make it a rogue Predator. Yeah, what would happen then? Yeah. And then put J. Jonah Jameson in it, and MJ, and a detective who's on the track of the skinned. This was great. I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I am always against. And I do apologise if you're new, because if you're not new, you probably know my deep-rooted cynicism of all things new. We fear change. So you know that by now, but if you're new, you don't know. And when I see these Alien, Predator, Dread, Spider-Man, Avengers crossovers, I look off, oh, here we go again. You know, gimmicky old twaddle. But Benjamin Percy proves it can work. I mean, and the Avengers Aliens, by the way, on that same subject, proves it can work. So I'm here to have my mind changed. That's why they call it a mind, so you can change it. See what I did there? Book of the week. Now this is I think this might shock you. I hope you're sitting down. Yeah, I think it is going to shock you. It's The Last Boy by Dan Panosian. I know. Out of all of those 14 spectacular, universe-spanning, time-warping gloriousness, superheroes, daring do you know what? This is the book this week that I just thought was a beautiful thing. And we're gonna do a deep dive on it. The artwork deserves it. I'm going to give a major spoiler. Spoiler. I'm going to give a major spoiler away with the last page of this comic. So hold back. Let me recommend it to you, because I don't think there'll be any spoilers other than the fact that if you've watched the Disney film, none of us have read the books, have we? Of course we haven't, but we saw the Disney movie, didn't we, when we was 4? This is the feel of this comic from the first issue. I didn't know if it would work. I really, again, am I being too cynical in my old age? Anyway, can't change me now, so tough. Anyway, I was cynical, but it warmed my cockles. So it did, this comic. It warmed those old cockles, those wrinkled... No, we don't go there. We don't go there. It melted my heart, this comic. After 2 issues, yeah, beautiful. A beautiful thing. If Panosian, he's written it, Dan Panosian, if he was on the art as well, this would be truly... And I don't mean that derogatory to Alessio Avallone, and particularly the colouring on this is beautifully understated. It's not glaring and in your face, but when you just sit back and relax and just admire the art and then admire the colouring. And there's obviously two aspects of this story going on. One is Wendy in Victorian England, and one is Peter Pan in Fairyland. And it's nice how the colouring just cuts it out nicely and adds to the story. So that is my top 5 for a deep dive. If I have tickled your fancy, please join me after the scroll. If I haven't, that's one beer in the sun too many, I think. If I haven't, then I don't know. Do I apologise? No, of course I don't. But you're probably still not here. Anyway, if I've tickled your fancy with those top 5 for the deep dive, join me for a lovely little look at some beautiful comic book storytelling from people at the top of their game, the top 5 comics of the week. Right, so here we go. First up, what I found most beautiful about this comic was the juxtaposition, yes, I use that word, between what's going on in his head and what's actually happening, and the two stories that are weaved. Basically, this is the story of a South American immigrant, a kid who comes across the border with his mum and dad. Obviously, the dad's passed away. It's the use of the framing that most impressed me in this. That added so much to the story, the format. That added, and he gets a job in an abattoir when he's older, and his dad, after his dad obviously had a job there as well, so it's his dad who's got him the job. And look, just that you can see what they're doing. Both Denise Camp and I know I'm going to get his name wrong. Zawadsky, Eric Zawadsky. What they do together, it takes more than just a little bit of collaboration. It takes total collaboration. And I know you're not really going to get the story, because there's 3 strands going through it. It's their journey across the border. It's our central character, Jesus. It's his life after. So here he is as a disgruntled child. His dad's been drunk. He got drunk again. His mum's making excuses, not being very happy. In conjunction with his new job in the abattoir, putting nails or bullets, whatever they call them, pellets into the cows' heads. How it is weaved into, like, even this bouncy playground, I don't know what you would call it. We couldn't sort of ride, is it? Swing, for want of a better term. How they turn that into the crocodile that eats one of the people that are with them in their group as they come across the border, which leads into the dinosaur on the cover. But again, keeping to this format, it resonates throughout this whole entire comic. And basically, Jesus is losing his mind. But he's losing his mind, but we're being told why. His childhood, the border crossing, and his life afterwards, in conjunction with society's desire to murder animals. Yeah. So it's a great comic. It's a great one-off. If you like your comics off-piste, this is for you. This one is for you. It's trippy. But it's solid. It's solid, and it comes into its own as you read it. It just gets better and better, and it gets more solid, and you realise what's going on. A great bit, Denise Camp, a great bit of storytelling from him in conjunction with the artwork. You couldn't do it without Zawadsky. And this is in the same vein, and it's Denise Camp again. And he's going. The bloke is on fire at the moment. First issue, like I said, it didn't rock my world. It was cuckoo, and I do like it. But here, things come into more focus. So what we're getting is more Martian Manhunter coming into the story and what he's bringing to. So it's obviously this FBI agent, our main character, who's everywhere he looks, he sees the Martian Manhunter. But it's not so intense. Like the first issue was quite intense. This one takes a breath and shows us what powers, what John Johns' brain, thoughts and feelings is doing to this guy, and what he can see. So it's kind of showing us his powers. And again, I mean, Denise Camp is going back there into this guy's childhood and all that, and he did this with the other comic, with the Assorted crisis events. So there's a familiar theme here following. So this is an FBI agent who's only round the corner from this, and this is the instrument with which Denise Camp shows us what Martian Manhunter can do. So you've got a gunman, he's going to the local immigrant centre, or centre of the street where, there is a lot of immigrant families, etc. So that's another theme that's coming through actually from Denise Camp's work in both of these books. But the difference being, we've still got the trippy artwork by Javier. It's Javier Rodriguez, isn't it? Yeah, Javier Rodriguez. Yeah, beautifully. And again, what I would say to you is the collaboration between, like, you can't, without talking and sitting down and sketching, you can't tell an artist how to do that page. And I love this comic for that. You literally can't describe this in prose on a piece of A4 paper emailed to the artist. You can't do it. It's a properly full-on collaboration. But like I say, we get to find out more through this gunman that I was a Syrian, little Damascus is called, downtown. But through this device, we find out what powers he's inheriting. And it is great. It's great. I love the sound effect of the police cars. Like, wow, 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 wow. Beautiful. Look at this. Now that is a panel to show you someone's brains being blown out. Just as he's realising how stupid he's been, like what he's been seeing, like Martian Manhunter is literally disassembling his brain and showing him how wrong he's been. But no, the cop has to shoot him in the head. And he will be, by the end of the comic, he's being lambasted for not shooting him dead. Why was you talking to him? There's a lot going on. Denise Camp has got a lot to say in this comic. Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderfully, beautifully different. And then from that, we come to like standard fare. But that makes, after those two comics, this makes Solomon Kane by Patrick Zirka sound like, I don't know, like boring, but it is not. It is not. It is the further adventures of our main character in Africa, where a lot of it, the Puritan main character of the story. But look at this beautiful artwork. Patrick Zirka, and, writing it, drawing it and colouring it. Not many artists can get away with a lot. He does. He does here. It's his artwork. He's colouring it, and he's doing it superbly. And now we're going to get a possessed. We're going to get a possessed. What do you call them? Not colonist. A possessed. The priests that went abroad and. You're all shouting the word now, aren't you? Anyway, Solomon Kane was wounded in the first issue. Here he is brooding over an open fire. That's our priest being murdered and like I say, beautiful artwork, but here, there's a turning point. So he's in Venice and he's talking to these two that know the priest and know the legend of the serpent ring. And there's a point in the story, look, where one of the natives, San Mancos mission, it's all been burned down by the evildoers. And here, look, then it turns. Just past halfway point, it turns, and we know what's going on. He's murdered everyone around him. All of the I'm still trying to find the word for the Catholic priests that would have gone all over the world. Missionaries. Yay. Yay. Missionary. So he's overtaken the body of the missionary. And Solomon Kane is on his way back with the friends of the bloke he kind of killed in the first issue. And it is all gothically beautiful. It really is the classic Robert E. Howard kind of po-faced protagonist, the beautiful damsel, but given a little modern twist. She holds her own. There's a great scene here in the tavern, and it's all classic stuff. It's all classic stuff, but just beautifully woven and told. Writer, artist, colourist. Just breathe it in, guys. Breathe it in. And they're the couple, the dad and the daughter characters in this story are Jewish. He's getting attacked because he's a Puritan. They live in the slums because they're Jews in Venice. There's a lot going on. A ton. There's a ton of things going on, thanks to Patrick Zirka. It's great. It is an awesome read. Oh, and so is this. This was action-packed. Benjamin Percy, I'm loving him. Right, we've got Spider-Man, Predator. Let's get on with it. Here we go. New York. New York in the heat. Here's our detective character crunching on ice while the body is being skinned. Flash, flash, flash. Love the sound effects. And then she's talking to what we think is a CSI person in his hazmat. There's a finger gone, the face is gone, a jaw is gone, a rib is gone. And then we realise, hold on, the two forensic scientists turned up, and the detective woman's going, hold on, who have I just been talking to? Peter Parker. And then he's on the mobile that he has got taped to his ear. Love that. I absolutely love that. Anyway, he's talking to J. Jonah Jameson, and he's classic JJJ. Look, you think it's hot outside? It's really bleep hot in here. Look, your feet are on fire. Oof. And he's up there in the air with the doves. Look, he's trying to... The whole city is burning. But as we all know, if you're into the lore of Predator, Lore, by the way, not Law, the law is that the heat attracts them. So we're there. Great art job by whoever it is. We'll get to it at the end. And look, and Spider-Man is fun. It's Peter Parker. And then we're given the gore that we demand of Predator. We demand the gore. But we're given the fun of Spider-Man. And it is a beautiful thing how they've matched it. How Benjamin Percy has matched it. And he's obviously, Peter Parker's arrived too late onto the next scene because he was saving the kids from imminent danger. And now MJ's in the way. She's on the subway. And the lights go off. Yeah. See what Benjamin's done there? Look, and again, the colouring's great. The ramp up of the tension is great. I mean, we know MJ isn't going to get eaten by a predator, but how it's staged. He's wearing the face of one of his earlier victims now. He's obviously a rogue element. This was good stuff. This rocked and bent. I will say it one more time. Benjamin Percy, Marcelo Ferreira on the artwork. Beautiful. Great stuff. But Benjamin Percy, he's rising. He's a rising star in my estimation, because I love the way he gets on with it. There are certain writers that take a year at least to do the introduction to a story. And every month you get the comic, you're just thinking, oh, get on with it, mate. Get on with it. But no, Percy he does. Panosian's getting on with this. Another beautiful cover. What did make me laugh, bearing in mind it's called The Last Boy, is The Last Boy is created by Dan Panosian, apparently. I don't know why he did that. We all know it's Peter Pan. I don't know why he has to copyright The Last Boy. Just do a one and done story. But we've all seen the Peter Pan film, haven't we? And in the last issue, guess who gets eaten by the crocodile? Here's old Shmee. Here's Peter Pan. Here's, what's her name? Little Fairy. And the plot unwinds from there. And Smee ain't happy with Peter Pan, because he's blaming Peter for Captain Hook's demise. Tinkerbell, that's her name. Anyway, Wendy. So we go back to, like I said earlier on about the colouring. Look at this wonderful colouring here. This is Victorian England, so we've got subdued browns and greys. This is Wendy's dad on his deathbed. She doesn't want to get married. She's been betrothed to someone, and she doesn't mind. Like, it's not a forced marriage, but she's saying, right, I want to publish my book before I get married. But her mum has different ideas. Her dad's in a bad way. And Peter's trying to work his way through this new conundrum. So he searches out the Lost Boys, and they're a little bit older than we remember. And they've all got families now. We're being introduced to the fairy world, but there is a new. He's called the Phantom King. We've got a new enemy of fairyland, whatever you want to call it. And the Lost Boys are all going, oh, you know, I'll have to check with the missus, Peter. I don't think she'll like this idea too much. He's basically asking the Lost Boys to come and help him fight this new menace. And then it's juxtaposed with Wendy's story back in Victorian England and her fight against her mum. You know, it's about time you start thinking about your dad on his deathbed, and he'd love to see you getting married. And that very traditional. I just thought this was such a traditionally nice way of framing a story. And there's so many member berries in here. So he goes to Fairyland or Fairy Home. Queen Mab. She's warning Peter Pan. And like I say, massive spoiler alert. So here's the big bad coming through now. And Peter all the way through these two issues has been Peter Pan. Full of it, full of confidence, full of fire, full of what the Americans call spunk, but we don't say that word in England. And here he is. Here's our new big bad. And I tell you what, by the last page, by the time this happens, because he's going, yeah, take this, yeah, and he just goes, whoosh. And we are left with the last page of that. I thought that was sensational. It got me. It got me, because I didn't think anyone would go there. I really didn't. And that's a beautiful cover to issue 3 as well by Panosian. Anyway, that is my book of the week, guys. Thoroughly recommend. It's classic stuff, but there's something very, very new about it. I mean, this isn't Peter Pan, is it? So Panosian, although he's claiming creativity on the last boy. But what's going to be cover of the week? Look at that, Predator and Spider-Man. That's a beautiful cover. Don't know who it's by, but it's a beautiful cover. This is a beautiful cover by Zurcher, but it's classic. But also, you know, you got it says everything you expect. You know, 2 muskets, the sword, serpent eyes. I love it. It says mysticism. It says everything Robert E. Howard intended with that character. When you put a Velociraptor on a comic cover, it's going to be in my cover of the week. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. When you put Spider-Man on the cover, it's going to be in my cover. No, not necessarily, but I just wanted to point out what this reminds me of. This swirl of... But we don't go there, because that would be really, really, really immature. Nevertheless, I did like that as a classic Spider-Man cover. Got all the, you know, the doves from above. Again, a classic cover, even though Shazam isn't in it. But it's Mora, and it's Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Nightwing, Lala. Dan Mora. Again, Doctor Doom. But this is actually happens in the comic, and all of our heroes attacking him. So I just think, well, and villains, actually. So we've got Mysterio, MODOK, and our heroes as well, because that's what's going on in the comic. So that actually does match. Redcoat, of course it's going to be in cover of the week. Just look at that for a Civil War epic cover. I bet Hitch loves doing stuff like that. He must do, because he does it so often. Bug Wars. We've got our hero drowning in goo with skulls and spiders and flies. Yeah, yuck. Great cover. It's not such a great cover, but evocative nevertheless. You've got the butterflies, you've got Witcher. You know, it kind of says he's Witcher. Don't know about the goats. Goats and butterflies, you know. Don't know about that. I don't think that's going to make it to the end. And here's another 2 DC. Jim Lee with Jason Todd standing over the dead bodies of Batman and Joker. Dun dun dun. Just thought that was another great cover. DC knocked it out of the park there. Not so sure the comic was as good, but nevertheless, it's all going on. It's all going on. You've got a robot. Lex, Superman, and Snuggy, between old Jimmy Olsen. So, but no, do you know what? Cutting to the chase, it's not going to be The Witcher. Bug Wars, no. Redcoat, no, it's not going to be that. I don't know about Dinosaur. I think for me this week, and it's Spider-Man heavy. I know it ain't going to be Solomon Kane. That is beautiful. I've got to say, that is a beautiful fantasy image. In the land, in the kingdom of the mushrooms, whatever you want to call it, and Panosian has done a beautiful image there. This is the one for me. That is the comic book cover for me that would have done it. Spider sense tingling. He's looking downwards. The Predator's behind him. Yeah, that for me. Cover of the week has got it all going on. And if you follow me this far, I know it's been a mega epic issue of this week's comics. I thank you so much if you follow me this far. I don't suppose many of you do, but if you have, let it be known that I love you mucho. And I do appreciate the fact that you follow me this far. And until next time, I will bid you all adios.